Hi, I'm Thrashin Allen with KNON and Hard Time Radio here, getting to talk to somebody that I've wanted to talk to for a couple of years now. So it gives me extreme pleasure to finally be welcoming Queensryche back to Dallas-Fort Worth, man. The big show is, of course, this Saturday night at the Gas Monkey Live. And this time with you, Todd freaking LaTorre on vocals, man. I'm so stoked to finally get to see you play live, man. It's mind-blowing, man. I've been lighting it up on the air.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, hell yeah, man. I've been trying to get you to Dallas for a little bit now.
Right?
Hey, let it be known, man, in addition to playing the band for over 20 years here in Dallas-Fort Worth, man, I myself, I've been a card-carrying, tri-Reich, tattoo-branded Queensryche freak since like 1983. So I've seen the band play many, many, many times through the years, man, but I can honestly say I'm as stoked to see you this time as I was to see the band back on the first leg of the Rage for Order tour in '86, man.
Wow. Well, that's a huge compliment. Thanks a lot. Yeah, we're doing a lot of the older classic, kind of metal Queensryche songs. We've been playing Queen of the Reich and Knight Rider and Enforced and The Warning and
yes,
kind of stuff off the first 5 records.
Hell yeah, man. I can't freaking wait to hear those damn songs live, man. I've got a couple other questions about that stuff, man, I'll get to here in a minute. But before we go any further, man, I want to offer you guys a huge congrats on finishing the recording of the brand new Queensryche masterpiece, man, just within the past few days, right?
Yeah, we just left Seattle yesterday, and we were all together with our producer, Chris Zeus Harris, and we just kind of listened from front to back and took some final thoughts on all of the songs, and you try to come up with an arrangement for the song order on the record. That's really tricky. So we spent a lot of time just kind of brainstorming on those things, and we've been immersed in this material for quite a long time now, and it'll be good to step away from it and then come back with fresh ears once it's all the final mix is done. We'll be getting mixes from him soon, and then we'll give a listen and then kind of approve it as we go. But we have obviously complete confidence in what Zeus is going to mix, what his mixes are going to sound like, and it won't be long before it's completely mixed and mastered and sent off to the record label. So yeah, we're really excited about the songs. We put a lot into it, and hopefully the fans really dig it. You never know. It's so subjective, but there's such a diversity, I think, of material that surely there's something for everyone, kind of like on the last record,
Which was a brilliant record, I've got to say, man. I loved the hell out of that record.
It's a great record, yeah.
Well, man, I hate to put you in this kind of position, but if you had to make any kind of comparisons to any past Queensryche records or songs, what would you compare it to if you had to?
There's some stuff that sounds like it would be from the Mindcrime era. There's a couple songs that sound like they could have been from Empire. There's also some tunes that could have been from the Rage and War. I mean, honestly, I know it sounds like typical or cliche to say, but I really feel that there's material on this record that spans from the first record that the band did up to Empire and maybe even Promised Land. I mean, there's a lot of diversity, but there's a complexity to these songs. It's a different animal than the last record. The last record was awesome, and we were very proud of it. This one had a lot more involved, a lot more layers, and I think vocally speaking, I was able to do some things on this record that I didn't get to do on the last one, just because the material maybe didn't
it sounds like you guys aim to please, man. So yeah, I cannot wait to.
Yeah, the drumming on this is like, it's so good. The bass, the rhythm section, the bass playing of Eddie, and it locks in with Scotty's kick drum, and I mean the guitar work that Parker and Michael did really, really shines. And a lot of great harmony guitar work that was so evident in the Queensryche sound is very vibrant on this record in certain places. Everything was microscoped, like to every single tiny little detail that, no expense was spared. We didn't want to overdo everything. Sometimes you can go a little crazy. You have to learn when to say enough is enough. And so we were very, and Chris, Zeus, our producer, and also who's engineering the record, he was very mindful of the Queensryche style and sound, and he was a huge fan of the band. So, he definitely wanted to capture those pure Queensryche elements, but also make the band sound like it should sound in 2015. It doesn't sound dated, but there's still that Queensryche sound. It is a different lineup, and there's a new energy, and there's a drive that this record has that I think is really refreshing. And sonically speaking, I mean, we don't even have the final mixes, but just kind of rough mixes as we're going, as we're working.
Right.
I mean, it sounds killer. It sounds killer. I'm super excited for this record to come out. I think it's definitely a great step.
Well, hell, man, you guys took a groundbreaking approach to making this new record materialize. So for those people not aware that haven't kept up with it all, can you talk a little bit about how you guys came up with the whole idea and how difficult it was to successfully implement and carry out the plan?
So you're asking about how was the songwriting approach to this record?
No, I'm asking about putting it together, putting it out with the fans' input monetarily without the record label support and all that.
Okay, that's a misconception that I need to clear up, because our record label is Century Media, and they did fund the record. The PledgeMusic. It's basically like we have certain packages that we offer when we play,
right.
Meet and greets. We have merchandise things. This was offering unique, special things that are only available through this a specific period of time that people could purchase. They could get the record. They could buy the record in advance at, I think, a discounted price, and then they could buy hoodies, and they could buy signed stuff, and they could buy the guitars. And there was a lot of unique things involved in this, but I've seen a lot of rhetoric about fans saying, well, I invested in the record, and I hope that it sounds better sonically than this, or I hope that it's longer than the last one, and but it was, the fans did not bankroll the record. Century Media is the one that did that. So I just need to make that distinction. That's certainly not to undermine or diminish the value of the investment from the fans purchasing the available packages through PledgeMusic.
Right.
Obviously, it's kind of an extension of what is already offered, but they're very unique, exclusive packages, ranging from things very simple to, going golfing with Michael or Eddie. There are people, they're big golfers. There's a lot of people that would want to do something like that. So
right.
I just needed to kind of clarify that.
Well,
but at any rate, we've been touring a lot, and we are always writing and coming up with ideas. So it was definitely a challenge and tricky to tour and then find out, when can we start tracking drums? When can we start, when can we get together with our producer and sit down and go through pre-production and kind of tear these songs apart and see what's a keeper and what's not, and what needs to be improved, or what's already good enough, and just all of that stuff. It's such a lengthy, detailed process that unless you're in it, unless you really do this to this level, people really don't understand how it works. They think, oh, you got these songs, you go into the studio and you play them, and a month later the record's done, and it doesn't work that way. I mean, this is people just sat in the room for a day and saw the detail. I mean, we'll have a half-hour conversation over literally one word. How are we going to sing this chorus? Do I sing a word right before it? What should the note be? Does it take away from the impact? Is it better this way? There's so much stuff involved with this. It's very tiring, but certainly we remained. What's the word I'm looking? There was a lot of integrity. So in the final throes of finishing the last little pieces, it's easy to get complacent because you're kind of tired, you're just burned out. But with that being said, our producer was still never deviated since day one about not cutting anything short and not taking the easy way out, and just all the way down to the end. So yesterday was the last day, literally. We went to bed. We flew to Texas yesterday, but that night before, we closed up the studio after 1 a.m.
Wow.
And I haven't had a day off. I haven't been home. By the time I get home, I will have been home like 4 days and 5 months. So I've been touring and flying and on buses and singing at recording and singing at concerts and meet and greets and interviews, and it'll be good that we're really glad that this is finally done, and it's something that our producer can go back now and do hit and mix it and start sending us stuff back, give our ears a little bit of a break and our minds a little bit of a break from it all, and then I'm really hoping that it translates to the listeners as we want it to. That's always a scary thing. You don't know how anybody's going to perceive what you did, especially when you take so much time and effort and dedication and sacrifice to do this. You really want it to go over well. So that's the best we can ask for.
Well, hell yeah. Well, Zeus is a legendary producer, man. I'm pretty sure that guy will come up with a extraordinarily badass sounding product.
Great. He was right at the forefront of the metal scene that was happening up in the New England area with the style of Shadows Fall and Kill Switch Engage and that kind of stuff. So he was immersed into that genre of metal for a long time, and he did the new Sanctuary record, which sounds really great. And so he was super excited to get into the territory of music that Queensryche does, and he handled it with extreme respect and care, but he wasn't afraid to say no. If he didn't think it was the best, he had no problem respectfully saying that's too happy, or that sounds kind of corny, or this need you can do better, to all of us. And he really pushed us to do the best that we could for respective to each song. So yeah, he was very eager and enthusiastic and honored to work with Queensryche, and we were equally felt the same way to have him do this record.
Well, hell yeah, brother! I can't wait to hear this stuff, man. I've been blasting the 2013 record for the past week and a half now, like nonstop, man. I'm driving all my people around me crazy.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh hell, dude, it's not a problem, man. It's for me, it's really been great watching you guys on YouTube, since I've got to see you live yet, man. Watching you, all the videos on YouTube, man, seeing so many of, like we talked about earlier, seeing the Queensryche classics being resurrected, songs that I was certain would never be heard live again on stage, man. It was like, it's been like watching a dream come true for an old Reich freak like myself, man. So, to hear you talk about songs like Knight Rider and Force, Queen of the Reich, playing live again, man, that is
well,
badass.
That hasn't been done in a long time, and as a fan, if I step outside of the band and say, "What would I want to hear?" This is the stuff that I would want to hear. It's like going to see Iron Maiden and not wanting to hear, Power Slave or Member of the Beast or these staple, just ripping songs that the fans love and they still resonate today after all these years. Some people feel like, oh, I don't want to, look back on that, but to me, that's ridiculous. I mean, those were defining songs that, to people like you and myself that were fans, of the older works.
Right.
You want to hear those songs. So we've had a lot of fun playing them, and I do the very best that I can to honor those songs, and I try to do them to the best of my ability. But I think overall everyone's just really pleased. It's a surprise. They get to hear something that they just didn't think they would hear.
Yeah, without a doubt, man, because over the past, God, man, I don't even know how many years it's been now. Like I said, I've seen so many Queensryche shows that, I watched the vocal greatness of Tate decline over the years, and it got to the point where it was not real fun to go to a Queensryche show, man, because I knew going in that, the vocals were only going to be half-ass. They were only going to play songs that he was capable of singing half-ass. And I knew that there would never, like I said earlier, probably never, ever have a chance to ever see anything like that live again. And, I always walked away just wishing that there had been just one more song, one old one thrown in there. So, yeah, when, well,
I do my best to get all those high notes. I mean, I'm human, and, I don't claim to be the best or perfect, but I 99.9% of the time I'll go for it. And sometimes it sounds, I don't do it great, but most of the time it comes out pretty good. And, people's faces light up and their ears perk up because they want to hear that scream. And, when you throw the mic to the audience on all the big high notes, it's kind of a downer when you're the fan on the outside. I've seen bands do that. And you know what? I mean, again, we're human, and it's our voice. There's a lot that singers go through, but they're still expected to sing it perfect like the record every time. But I think if you give it your best and people know you really tried, they respect that, and they know that you're doing your best. And so that's all I try to do. I just have fun doing it. And when I see people getting excited in the crowd and they're like, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I feed off of. And sometimes when I feel like I'm totally out of gas, I'll that extra little burst will come out because, somebody's in the front. I can see them just like totally embracing it and in the moment and everything. So it's pretty awesome. We're looking forward to that show, and I hope that you have a great time.
I'm sure that I will, man. There's no doubt about that, man. I tell you what, man, it's been an honor to finally get to talk to you, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing everybody there and yourself, and appreciate the interest for the interview and all the support you've been giving us.
Oh, well, hell yeah, brother. I don't know if you remember, but we met briefly outside the hotel at NAMM. Not this last NAMM, but NAMM before last, man. And I was standing on the curb. You walked by, man, and I was like, damn, I've been waiting to see you for so long, dude. And I about talked your ear off, man, for a little while there. But one thing that I told you was thank you for bringing the balls back to Queensryche, man. And that is a statement that's a statement that I stand behind, man. And so
thank you kindly.
It's been a true honor talking to you. You guys have had my support since the initial breakup happened with the band, man. I've been very vocal in supporting you on the air and the band through it all, and I will most certainly continue to do so, man.
Well, we all appreciate it. Thanks so much.
There's one thing I gotta say that I must say that it really grinds my damn gears, man, when I come across some of the skeptics out there that are still unsure of attending a Queensryche show or buying new Queensryche music without Jeff on vocals, man. It really chaps my ass, man. Needless to say, I always light them up. I sing your praises, and I just tell them, go watch recent videos of the band on YouTube and check out the greatness that Todd has brought to the fold. And if that don't change your mind, go f*** yourself, pal.
Yeah, well, you that's all that you can hope for. You can't please everybody, and there are some purists that just aren't going to, accept, this lineup. But that's okay, because they're the minority, and I don't even worry about it. There's people that cross their arms at shows, and they want to hate me. And after a couple songs, their arms kind of drop, and a few more songs, and and then by the end of the show, they're like, I've met them and talked to people like that. They say, I wanted to hate you. I wanted to find reasons why I could confirm, the things that I've said about you, and I owe you an apology. You were awesome, and the band sounded great, and there was a fire and a life that the band hasn't had in so long. And as long as if we do that to one person at each show, then it's then it's working. We're doing everything that we can, and if people are open-minded and giving an honest listen, that's all that we ask. If they don't like me, they don't have to. but like me or don't like me based on facts, on merit, not emotional opinion. Like, well, you're not the guy that I grew up loving,
right?
And so I'm just not going to like it anyway, because there so many of the best bands don't have that original lineup, and it's a sound, and it's a certain style and sound, and if that's what captivated someone to the music, and we still have that, then why wouldn't they like it? So that's where you separate, the emotional, personal connection. It's a very personal connection to people, So, but I appreciate everyone's support, and I don't take it lightly, and I'm very thankful. And at the end of the day, I just want people to say, I'm a regular guy like everybody else. I just happen to sing in the band, but I'm the same person I was before I got in the band, and nothing's changed in that respect. So,
well, hell yeah. Well, you just happen to be a guy that was also just blessed with a badass voice.
Well, thank you very much.
All the stuff you did with Crimson Glory, man, I loved Crimson Glory on the Transcendence record. And when I first saw videos of you singing that stuff, man, it was completely mind-blowing. Talk about some damn highs, man. That's some highs up there that only dogs can hear.
Yeah, he was pretty unparalleled.
Hey, and the song you did with Glenn Rover, wanted to compliment that too. Badass tune right there.
That was a lot of fun. That was definitely a lot of fun. I love doing that song.
And hell, the video that you just posted recently of you playing drums on the cruise with Stryper, man, that freaking rocked, man. You're a hell of a damn drummer.
Yeah, that was cool. That was definitely kind of a last-minute thing. That was a personal feather in the cap.
Well, it was awesome, man, without a doubt.
Thanks so much.
For all them people that was on that cruise, they got a treat right there for damn sure. Hell yeah. Well, Todd, thank you again so much for talking to me. The show, of course, for everybody listening, this is this Saturday night at the Gas Monkey here in Dallas. And do we have a release possible time for the new record?
I think we're probably talking, early October-ish.
Cool.
Yeah, by the time, it's fully mixed and mastered and turned in, we're still finishing up the artwork and all of the stuff that goes into that. So It'll be this year for sure, and it'll be well worth the wait, I think.
Well, hell, when it comes out, dude, I'd love to have you call in and talk to you again, man.
Right on.
Once
We'll
I have
do it.
all these songs and wear them out, yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man. Well,
Okay, well, we'll do it, Alan.